Cold Iron review for the PlayStation VR.
Let's begin!
First up, let's take a look at the gameplay. In this game you take on many different opponents in gun duels. You really do have to learn to shoot a gun again in this game, even if you have played a lot of gun games. Quickly pointing the gun forward and having good aim is certainly something you are going to need to practice at, and at first it can feel like the game's aiming is off, especially if you miss your target and the marker displayed is very far from your intended position. This really isn't because the aiming is off though, you just need to get used to aiming quickly and only pressing the trigger when your arm is steady. You're not allowed to shoot until you hear a bell. The wait is very intense, especially as you hear a heartbeat and the move controller vibrates in a rhythm. The anticipation really is quite nerve-wracking against some of the opponents, and the palm of my hand did sweat. Most of the duels involve some sort of puzzle. One enemy clones themselves and you must spot the odd one out quickly, and another has you shooting targets quickly in the correct sequence. Working out for puzzles is the most fun part of the game and also the most frustrating because of how the game over works. If you get shot more times than you shoot your opponent, it's game over and you have to start from the beginning of the world again. This can feel a bit unfair with some of the puzzles, as you really need some time to observe what you must do and your opponent shoots you before you are able to get a good grasp on things. You can also lose a life if you raise your gun before the bell is heard. The angle that you can already have your gun raised is very lenient. If you want, you can actually have it raised quite high. It does feel like cheating, but is welcome, especially in the last world, as the duels are frustratingly hard. Each time you shoot your opponent, some stats are displayed right in front of you. I was quite often shocked at how quickly I drew my gun and fired it. It really does make you feel like a pro when you see that you have performed the action in under a second. There are boss battles, but ultimately they do play out the same. They just involve a new puzzle for you to work out. After you beat a boss, you're rewarded with a bonus level which consists of shooting watermelons. These play out like your normal shooting gallery and are a nice change of pace, but are very simple and don't really offer much variation from one another apart from being in different locations. Now let's take a look at how immersive this game is. The story mainly plays out in darkness with glowing images that appear in front of you, whilst a voiceover narrates the story. The images can be a bit jagged around the edges. It would have been nicer if they're smoother. The stats that appear are easily readable though, and do not have the same jagged issue. In one puzzle the screen goes black, and you must listen to where your enemy is positioned. It is quite hard to tell where they are. After a while you do get used to where they are positioned, but after playing the Impatient recently, it's clear that this puzzle would have really benefited from 3D binaural audio. The locations are a bit bland and the textures are not the best. The final world in particular is very empty and does seem a bit rushed. The background is very pixelated in one part and it looks very out of place. Flames appear around your gun when you have to shoot your target one more time to beat them. It's a nice little effect, although you probably won't see it much as your gun will be by your side most of the time. The bullets don't impact the environment, which does break the immersion. There are no sparks or an impact sound effect. The absence is most noticeable in the bonus levels, as you will be shooting the gun a lot more and are more likely to miss your target. The heartbeat heard really does make each duel so much more intense. The voiceovers are quite well done and obviously fit the setting.
They came and lit your old man up right in front of you. Then they nearly tore the house down looking for something. They left the money, left the food, left you.
I never found the voiceovers to be too frequent, but if you don't like them, you can turn them off in the options menu, along with other audio settings. Now let's take a look at the setup and what controllers the game supports. I played this game in a standing position just over 2 meters away from the camera. The head tracking was great and at no point did I feel motion sick. You only need one move controller to play this game, the other controllers are not supported. Now let's take a look at the length of the game and what trophies come with it. The game has 4 worlds to beat with a total of 11 duels. It took me just under 3 hours to beat the game, but everyone's times are going to be quite different considering if you die in a world, you have to start the world from the beginning again. I think there is a special duel you can unlock, by completing all the challenges, but one of the challenges you must complete is for beating the game without dying. The final world took me an hour and 15 minutes to beat, so I wasn't prepared to play all the game again to potentially get to that point, die, and have to restart it all over again. The trophies are very well done for this game and do encourage a lot of replayability. In total there are 19 trophies that can be achieved. There is 3 bronze, 7 silver, 8 gold and 1 platinum. The trophy list is very challenging and the platinum will certainly put your gunslinging skills to the test. Most of them are rewarded for beating an opponent with an A rank or better. And now it's time for the verdict. I have played a lot of horror games on the PSVR, so I've experienced a lot of tension, but the tension in this game feels a lot different. The anticipation of hearing the bell ring is certainly a new feeling, and my heart did race. At the beginning of the game, it was a lot of fun to experience it and work out the puzzles, but the game increases in difficulty far too quickly, and the frustration outweighs the fun overall. The game lacks polish in certain areas, and the bonus melon levels couldn't be any more basic. There is a great thrill to be had here in some of the duels, and becoming faster at your quick draw is certainly rewarding, but as a whole, it is quite rough around the edges. What do you guys think of this game? Are you a fan of all things Wild West? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give the video a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation VR content.